Well, hey there, friend. Welcome back to the Kingdom Business Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Pyle, and I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to be talking today about the 5 foundational building blocks that you need to have in your business if you are going to launch successfully, if you're going to be able to build and scale and serve successfully as an online business. And so this is a part of like a 4 to 6 part series that we've been doing on the Dream to Do Workbook. So if you do not yet have the Dream to Do Workbook downloaded, it's free. I want to encourage you, go to ericapyle.com/dream to do and grab your copy of the Dream to Do Workbook, okay? Because this is actually the basis of how we've been working together. So we started, I think it was in episode 10, I gave you a little bit of an introduction. And then last week on episode 11, we went through the first step, which was the vision roadmap. And I encouraged you to get yourself a notebook specifically for this podcast. So maybe you've not been around this podcast yet. Maybe this is your first time experiencing the Jesus Girl Gang Kingdom Business Podcast, or me, Erica Pyle, right? So what is this thing about? Well, I built this podcast so that it could be literally a place that you could show up to with me every single week as like a course, like a free course. That's what I want my podcast to feel like. And so I started this podcast out of a different podcast. I was doing a different podcast for 5 years, and I was putting in little pieces of entrepreneurial, like business building, business coaching stuff in there. I'm also a pastor of a local church. And so I was sharing a lot of messages on that podcast having to do with messages that I was preaching in church or my women's ministry. But I was building in this passion around simply working with Jesus Girl entrepreneurs, women who wanted to build and launch a business online. They wanted to do it without sacrificing their faith, their family, their finances, their sanity, their health. And so I was creating this space. And I have a mentorship. It's called the Jesus Girl Gang Build with Faith Mentorship. And I'd been serving these women for quite some time. And I decided, you know what the market needs right now, what our community needs right now is an on-ramp. And I was seeing a lot of things out here in the online space where it's a bunch of coaches that are, selling packaged replays of their previous courses, or it's like what they're calling a coaching experience or a done with you experience. And really it's not. They're handing you off to their team members, or it's just all virtual. And what I was hearing and what I was seeing, both in my own community, the girls that I coach and lead, but also the women who are like on my social media feeds and asking me questions, what I was really starting to see is that there's a whole company of kingdom women who are looking to launch and scale businesses online, but they're done getting taken. They're done being fed the line. They're done with we're going to do it together and it's going to be a community, but then you realize it's just a portal. It's just like a login page and you're on your own. And they're like, that's not what I paid for. And I tell this story a lot, but it happened to me a couple years ago. And I bought a coaching program that I thought was going to be done with you. At least that's when I read the sales page. That's what I thought. But I wound up getting handed off to the team. And I never even, I think I received one message from the coach that I thought I was going to be working with. And to be honest, it all worked out. Like they had a great team and I got my objective met. But I got to say, I did walk away from that experience feeling a little bit jaded. And it's what started me on this journey of being like, you know what? I want to create something in this space that feels authentically done with you, where even if it's a podcast, that it can feel done with you. And so how do I do that? Well, first and foremost, I record my podcast live every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube. That's like my first commitment, is that I'm going to show up live. And if you want to be live in the comments with me, then we get to be live together, and I'll integrate what you're talking about, what you're asking into the episode. I'm perfectly comfortable doing that. I don't feel like I get off on too many tangents that way. So let's do it. But if you happen to be watching it and it's the replay, then sister, come to my Instagram. I'm at Erica Pyle, and I can just meet with you over there. Okay. And you can get my DMs and you can tell me that you're a listener of the Kingdom Business Podcast. You can tell me that, what your business is about and what you're looking to accomplish in this next season as you build and launch your business online. And yeah, we can connect. And so that for me, first and foremost, is where I was like, I really want to create something that's an on-ramp. Okay. But here's another thing. This week, it went to another level because we're in here, we're talking about the Dream to Do workbook. So hopefully by now you downloaded this, you got it for free, have it in front of you because we're going to get into this episode here in a second. But last week I was sitting with the Lord and I was like, is there any other way? Is there any other way that I can make it an easy on-ramp for folks, for these girls to come and join me in what I'm doing, what I'm offering in terms of coaching and accountability and support and community? And he was like, yeah, why aren't you doing a Cyber Week deal? And I was like, if I don't know about you, but like I feel like this space, the Black Friday space and the Cyber Week space is so noisy. And I'm like, and time again, when I think about digital products, when I think about coaching services, things like that, I'm like, Black Friday is traditionally a time when people are looking for Christmas gifts, right? And I'm like, no one's going to want to buy my coaching as a Christmas gift. But over the last few years, I've got to say, our niche, our market, our area of the internet, our little side of the internet has really figured out how to create a life-changing space in the Black Friday and Cyber Monday kind of Cyber Week kind of space. And what I mean is I saw a lot of people posting on their social media this past week about how a Black Friday sale in the coaching or digital services or products area changed their business, changed their life. And it wasn't just one person. I saw multiple people that are in the coaching, creation, and online education space that were talking about how their business that they have today was actually built and expanded, like it exploded because of a course or a coaching program that they stepped into in a Black Friday sale or in a Cyber Week sale. And I saw someone posting about that earlier last week. And so then I was talking to God about it, and he was like, you should create that opportunity for someone. You should create that opportunity because he was like, the products that you have, the courses, the programs that you have, Erica, they are designed specifically to empower entrepreneurial women in your space to launch and to scale and to do it without losing their sanity, without burning out, and without having to negotiate on their faith. And I was like, you're right. What am I doing? And I'll be honest, I believed a lie that it was so noisy out here that no one was going to be listening to me. No one would hear me. And can I tell you something? It was so far from the truth. The first post that I made about it, I had people in my DMs. The first post. And that just tells me that, like, when you're building community, like we are doing here on the podcast, or like I do on my Instagram account, that's a place that I take it very seriously to build community. I was out live on my Instagram feed today because I just wanted to talk to the people in my community about why you should be selling more on social right now. And I wanted to be honest about it because I think that there is a missed opportunity. And so if you are following me on Instagram, you should totally go and listen to that live. It's 24 minutes long and it will change your business. So I encourage you, go listen to it. But my point is, I didn't realize that when you have a community that you're building, then when you make a sound, your community is going to hear you. It doesn't matter that everyone has an offer, because what matters the most is that the people that you're called to serve hear you. And if you know how to do that, if you know how to get out on social media or online and make a sound that reaches your audience, then you're golden. And so I did that. And from the word jump, I was having people, checking out the offers and asking me questions and joining. And so I just want to encourage you, like, build communities. And if you are wanting to have a business that feels like that, then this is the greatest first step, is to subscribe to this podcast and let's travel together, because I am truly for that Jesus girl entrepreneur, that God has given her a vision and a dream for a business to build in the online space, and she's just full of vision and conviction, but she's just lacking maybe in support and clarity around the plan and accountability. And if that's you, then this podcast is the great first place to start. And then for this Cyber Week, I have 3 on-ramps for you. Okay, we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about the Plan Your Year workshop that's coming up on December 29th. This is a workshop where not only am I going to help you to consider, like, how do you want to plan out your 2026 in terms of your launch calendar, what you're offering, your launch calendar, and your revenue calendar. Like, can we plan for a certain level of revenue? Short answer, yes, we can, but we're going to have to take some steps. But also, I want to walk you through what it looks like to look at your 2025 and gather some data from there without being like Lot's wife. We don't need you to get like turned into a pillar of salt. But there is benefit to looking at what you did in 2025, what worked, what didn't work as we step into 2026. And then listen, sister, the Lord is downloading a prophetic word to me for 2026 for you Jesus Girl entrepreneurs. And I'm looking to release it in the first 20 minutes, let's say, of our Plan Your Year workshop. And so if you know that that's how you operate, you need to hear the word of the Lord. Maybe you've been sitting with God yourself about your business and you just really love to be edified when other Jesus Girl entrepreneurs are getting the sound from heaven and they're declaring it. And it's like, yes, we're resonating. Yes, we're traveling in the same direction. If that's what you need, and then you want a little planning, it's a 90-minute, I call it 90 minutes, but it's probably going to stretch 2 hours. Let's just be honest. Workshop. Okay. And right now during Cyber Week, it's on sale. You can step into the workshop for just $17. Okay. So go to ericapyle.com/cyber deals. And that's one of the deals that's there is the workshop on discount. Now, listen, if you're going to get it for a discount, then can I encourage you, get the VIP. The VIP is just another $47. So for 64 bucks, you get the ticket to the workshop and then you get the VIP level. What do you get with VIP? Now for the ticket, you get the workshop and you get a workbook. Okay. Straight up 17 bucks. You're going to get a 2-hour, 90-minute, 120-minute workshop and you get the workbook that goes with it. 17 bucks, done deal. Like why are you open up another tab and go get it. Okay. ericapyle.com/cyber deals. But if you get the VIP, which makes the ticket together $64, then not only do you get the workshop and the workbook, but you also get access to lifetime replays of the workshop and the other things I'm about to tell you about. And you will get access to a group coaching call, activation call on the Friday following the workshop, where I'm going to group coach for as long as you guys need it on all the things that we talked about in the planning session. So planning session is going to be a lot of one-way traffic. You can type in the comments. I'll probably answer. We'll engage through comments through the chat, but I'm not going to bring people on and I'm not going to talk to you about your business necessarily like face to face. But if you get the VIP, then you come to the coaching call on Friday, the activation call. And that's where I bring you on the screen. We talk about your business. We talk about your 2026 and I'll coach you through. That's a group coaching call. You get the replay for that as well. And then lastly, you get a one-on-one 30-minute strategy call with me. You get a strategy call. So we sit down on Zoom together and we talk about how do you want to plan out your 2026? And you get me for 30 minutes, eyes on your business. And I'm giving you all the strategy that I can. And I'm encouraging you and coaching you the whole steps of the way. And you get the replay for that as well for $64. Like, come on. If you have not worked with me before, if you are not already in my mentorship, if you are not already in my coaching programs, this is the best first step. Okay. Get in there. Now, there are 2 other options that I have out there for cyber deals, and I just want to tell you about them real quick. I'm probably going to refer to them in today's episode. Are you ready? The first one or the second one, because the first one's the Plan Your Year workshop that's on special, but the second one is my signature course, which is called the Jesus Girls Business Blueprint. This is the 8-module, 8-week build your business out of the box with me, done with you experience for launching your online business. It's 8 weeks. I take you through the Build with Faith framework step by step. And we're going to do foundations. We'll do your offer. We do your audience, gathering your audience, a leads to sales system. And then the entire way through, we're building out your tech stack. Now, honestly, one of the bonuses is you get 2 months of access free to our platform, our all-in-one business platform called the Kingdom Business Studio. So that's where you can build out a website and host it. You can do your email services there. You can do landing pages. You can host your programs, all the things, all on one platform. And you get 2 months of free access to that. And we teach you how to build your entire business on that platform as we go in the 8 weeks. And by the end of 8 weeks, you're launching something. At the end of 8 weeks, you're launched. and it includes coaching. So you've got a Tuesday coaching call around tech and building out your systems. And on Fridays, you have a coaching call for strategy and for support, coaching support. So all of that is included in the business blueprint that I'm offering. Normally, this program is $997. Okay. And when we run it live again, I think it's in February, it will be $997. That's what it costs. But for this week only until Sunday night, midnight, I'm offering it for $297. Like, do not wait. You want to grab that because people are like, okay, but you're not, this isn't a live round. No, it's not a live round, but that doesn't mean that it's not done with you because the 2 weekly training sessions that I do, I recorded live through the last round. So I did that in 2 sessions. Those are the replays. So you will listen to the training as replays, but there are live coaching calls every single week, and you have access to the community, the Jesus Girl Gang community, for the 2 months that you're doing the program, and you can post in the community and get feedback and get support, and you can come to the coaching calls. So it is completely done with you. It's just, I'm just doing a deal. It's 70% off. So if you know that this is your moment to build out your business and get it launched online finally for real, then you want the business blueprint and you want to grab it for $297. So go to ericapyle.com/cyberdeals and grab that up. Now, the last thing that I have an opportunity for you on is if you've worked with me, if you've been here for a little while and you're like, Erica, I'm waiting for that moment when you open up the door to your mentorship and it's a crazy good deal. Sister, it is now. Now is the moment. If that's what you were waiting for, you do not want to wait any longer because it's open now. So we've opened up the doors to the Jesus Girl Gang Build with Faith mentorship. And here's the deal. It's an annual membership. So we're giving you a year of access. In that year of access includes the Plan Your Year workshop at the VIP level, and it includes the blueprint. And not only will you get the self-directed blueprint that I just talked about, you'll be in there for 2 rounds of the live blueprint. Okay. All the coaching, all the community, you get access to the mentorship portal, the library that I have in there, anything new that I build, anything new that I launch in terms of like workshops or challenges or courses. They're in there. You get them for an entire year. Normally, my entire year of mentorship, and this includes the platform, the Kingdom Business Studio. So you get the platform included in your mentorship for a whole year. Okay. Coaching, community, system, support, all the things normally cost $2,997 for the year. We're knocking $1,000 off. It's $1,997 for the entire year. And here's the crazy part. Okay. If knocking off $1,000 isn't enough, let me tell you the really crazy part. Are you ready? If you stick with that deal, if you stay a member, if you want to renew the next year for another year, you keep the price. You keep the price. So if you want to be grandfathered in to the best price that you're ever going to get, $1,997 a year for the annual, sister, now is the time. Go to ericapyle.com/cyberdeals or jesusgirlgang.com/cyberdeals. I hope I have that other one put together as well. I really hope I have ericapyle.com set up as well, but go to jesusgirlgang.com/cyberdeals for any of those. Okay. All right. So let's get into the topic that we are here for today. 18 minutes in. Listen, it's just, I'm really passionate about making sure that you know how to get the most out of our connection. That's the deal. Because at the end of the day, that's my passion, is helping you to get launched online for impact and income. That is my deal. Like all day long. I think about it all day long. I'll wake up thinking about it. I will go to bed thinking about it. Like I think about God a lot, but because it's my purpose, because it's my calling, it's like they're intertwined. And so I'm constantly thinking about like, how can I help you? I have people in my mentorship and they're going through launches, and I'll constantly be thinking like, oh, they should add that to their funnel, or what would really work well for their ads, or what they should do for that opt-in. Like I'm always having ideas. And so if you come into my community and you're a part of my community, then I can be working like that for you too. And, being here on the podcast is fine, but I don't know you. And, stepping into my programs brings you proximity and it brings you access so that we can know one another like that. And so I can work with you like that. So I really want to encourage you, step into one of those ways. But if you're brand new here and you just need to check me out a little bit longer, check away. It's going to be great. So today we're going to be talking about step 2 of the Dream to Do workbook process. So last week we talked about the brain dump or the vision roadmap, right? And so hopefully you did your homework. Hopefully you pulled out your notebook last week and you took some time to answer the 8 questions that I posed in step 1. If you didn't do those, go back and listen to episode 11 and do that work, okay? But now we're going into step 2, which I call the basics checklist in this workbook. But in all honesty, you guys, it's the Build with Faith framework. Like, we're just going to keep on coming back to the same 5 steps. So if you started this podcast listening to the beginning episodes, then I'm sure you've heard me talk about the Build with Faith framework. Every single program, plan, roadmap, checklist, process, proprietary program that teaches you how to launch online includes the very 5 same foundational building blocks, same 5 pillars. You know what they are. Come on, let's all say them together. Mindset and identity. Okay. Mindset and identity, designing your offer design, gathering your audience, leads to sales system or a conversion system, and then the tech platform, the tech stack, and all the systems that you use to automate everything. Okay. Those are the same 5 building blocks. I don't care who you're learning from. I don't care if you're learning from a bro marketer, if you're learning from a kingdom woman entrepreneur, if you are learning from, an online influencer. If they are talking to you about how to successfully build an online business that functions well in 2025, 2026, they're going to be telling you those same 5 pillars: mindset and identity, offer design, gathering your audience, a leads to sales system, a way to sell, and the tech stack and the automation. That's it. That's it. There's nothing new under the sun, Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new. Okay. But here's the thing: you want to build with something that's solid. You want to make sure that when you're learning about those 5 things, that you're learning from someone who has the foundations that you're looking for. And so I'm not talking about like, there's more to it than just, oh, well, that person's making 7 or 8 figures and I want to make 7 or 8 figures. That's not enough anymore. Out here in the last 2 years, I got to tell you something. Those ones that were making 7 and 8 figures, say 2 years ago, they are struggling and they're changing their business models right now. I'm in some of their communities. So I have the inside story for many of them around how difficult it has been over the last 2 years as this market has pivoted. Because you want to know why it's pivoted? Because people are done being taken. They're done actually, like, it's not enough now to run through a slick funnel and have smart marketing convince you to go into that. In one of my last launches, I literally had people on my ads that were asking this question in the comments. And I was like, good on you, sister. And I'm so glad you asked me in the comments. Let me tell you what it was. Okay. This was the thing I'm constantly being asked. If I buy this workshop, will I have to buy something else? So smart. Such a smart question. Keep asking that question, because everything out here, every funnel out here is designed to sell you a little bit of something and then sell you something more and then sell you something more. And I'm not against that, because I think that the customer journey has to be broken up like that. You do not want to overwhelm people. And also, your customer, they're coming for what they want and they don't realize yet everything they need. So you would do well to sell your customer in the moment their felt need, their felt solution, like what they actually need right now, what they want right now. What is that? Okay, because that's what they'll pay you for. And then as you get to know them, you're then going to be able to help them forward in their journey to see, oh, but I also need this, and I also need this, and now I need this. And that's a relationship. And that's what's happened over the last couple of years, is that the consumer has become really savvy. And he or she understands, like, I know what I need now. And then I know I'll need something later. So I know you're going to offer me something later, but here's what I need to know. Am I going to get everything that you promised me in this one bite size, or are you going to hold me hostage at the end? And so one thing that's had to change over the last couple of years is, if you're the type who is like, it's basically you're doing a sales pitch for 45 minutes and then you're like thinking that you had them pay for that sales pitch and they're going to buy something else from you. They're like, I didn't get anything. I paid you and all I got was a sales pitch. No, you broke trust with them and they're never going to buy anything from you. And so from the beginning, I've always set up my offers so that if I do a workshop or a challenge with you, I'm going to get you a result in the 45 minutes to 60 minutes that we're together. Period. I don't gatekeep. And so when I have a workshop that goes into my blueprint program. It's called the Jesus Girls Business Launch Lab. And in that launch lab, I hand you my 5 pillars of the Build with Faith framework. And I tell you how to implement them. I tell you straight up. Now, at the end of it, I'm like, if you want help with this, if you want accountability, if you want support, if you want coaching as you do it, then come into the blueprint. That's how I do it. And so no one is ever angry that I'm offering something, because if they wanted to, and I did have some people who did this, they came in, they got my framework. I gave them AI prompts for how to implement. I showed them how to build the stuff. I showed them how to build the stuff on their own platforms. I didn't even say like you have to come on my platform if you want to do it this way. I did not gatekeep at all. I gave them a workshop. It cost them $27. They came in. If they wanted the VIP, I even gave them coaching around that one thing. I helped them. And then some of them went away. For $104, they came in, got the coaching they needed in the moment, and now they're off building their thing. Fantastic. Go for it. But the girls who really wanted to be in my environment, who wanted my support, wanted help with the clarity, wanted the coaching, wanted the community that I had to offer, they stuck around. They joined the blueprint. Then we did the blueprint together, and I helped them to build their business on the platform and launch. And guess what? Can I tell you something really crazy? It's pretty impressive. 100% of the people who came into the blueprint continued in my mentorship with me. 100%. Every single person who came into the blueprint stayed with me in the mentorship, are still in my mentorship. Because we build trust, because we build relationship, because we do not lie at any step along the way of this process. And so that's why I'm telling you, if you're going to learn from someone a process for how to build your business online, and if they're going to tell you, look, all 5 of those pillars are the same no matter who you learn from, everyone's teaching these 5 things: mindset and identity, offer design, gathering your audience, leads to sales system, a conversion system, and the tech and automation. That's it. There are no other pillars. Okay. They're all doing that. So what makes the difference? Well, what makes the difference is the support, the community, the accountability. It's how we go about doing that. How do we travel together? And if you are looking for a community of like-minded, like-spirited women who are absolutely called and convicted to build something with and for God in this earth, in the business space, to serve a particular company of people that God has called you to, and you want to do it with excellence, and you want to do it without burning out, you want to do it without overwhelm, and you want to do it without negotiating on your family or values, then the Jesus Girl Gang is the place to do it. The Kingdom Business Podcast is the place to get started. Okay. So that's why when I talk about these 5 foundational building blocks that are found in step 2, it's your offer, your audience. Then we have 2 of the pieces that are in, because we did mindset and identity in the last 2 episodes. Okay. So we already took care of that. So then we've got your offer, your audience, and then I've got 2 building blocks in here for your sales system, which is a way to share your offer and a way to receive payment. And then the last one is a way to deliver on your offer, which begins to speak to your systems. Okay. So quite frankly, the 5 building blocks that we're talking about, it's the Build with Faith framework. That's what it is. And so you need to understand that when you get ready to launch your business, if you're going to go from dream to do, if you're going to take what is on your vision board from God for your business and you're going to get it actually out into the real world, into the internet streets, and ready for people to take your offer, you need to understand that it's going to involve building out these 5 foundational building blocks. And so this step 2 in the checklist, in the workbook, it's going to help you to define that. So when you look at your offer, for instance, it says your offer is meant to solve a problem for your person. You need a clear way to articulate what you're offering and how it'll serve your person. So consider these questions. So I'm giving you the questions to journal out so that you can begin to design your offer. Okay. Then it's your audience. And I know if you've been in the internet online like marketing space for any amount of time, you've heard about ICA, ideal customer avatar, ideal buyer, right? Your person, your community, right? all of that's the same thing. And I'm sure we all tend to get tired of talking about it. But the reality is, if you're talking to everyone out there about your offer, you're talking to no one. And if you're talking to everyone, then you're trying to sell to everyone. And if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one. You need to actually, so when I talk to people about how to design their business, there's three things that we talk about up front. Okay. Even before we get into mindset and identity, I need you to understand that if you're going to build a kingdom business, you're going to have to do it the way that Jesus built his ministry. What? Yes. Yes. You're like, no, there's no way that Jesus in ministry crosses over with marketing online. Sister, he was the most brilliant marketer ever to walk the face of the earth. Okay. Um, and here's why. He knew his sound. He knew his solution. He knew. He knew what he had on the inside of him that he was meant to bring out. He knew. He was the savior of the world. And he didn't mess with, like, if anyone tried to question, if anyone tried to be like, "Oh no, what they really need is this," or "What you really should be is this," or "What you really should do is this." He's like, "Nope. I know what my solution is. I know what my solution is. I know what I carry. I know what God has put on the inside of me. You need to know what your solution is. You need to know what your product is. You need to know what your offer is. Because God has made you with a sound. He's made you with a solution. He's made you with this idea that he's put on the inside of you. And he wants you to bring it to who? Your people. So even Jesus had a people group that he was called to. And there are a few times in the Gospels when you would see him go, "I'm not called to you." And we all get clutch the pearls. But the reality is Jesus had a people group that he was called to. Just like we know that Peter was called to the Jews and Paul was called to the Gentiles. Like, this is how it works. There is a people group that you're called to. And so I tell people all the time, you got to know what your solution, what your offer is. You got to know what your people group is, who your person is that you're talking to and that you're serving. Who are you called to serve? And then lastly, you need to know your vehicle. You need to know your vehicle. And so it's like, how are you going to get that offer to your people? Are you going to do it in a podcast? Are you going to do it in a course? Are you going to do it as a service? Are you going to be a coach? Are you going to do physical products? Like, what is the vehicle? How do you get your solution or your offer to your people? How do you get it there? That's the vehicle. So you've always got to start by thinking about those three things. And I always talk about that even before we talk about mindset and even before we talk about identity. And there's no point in talking about systems or automation. I just made up a word. Automation, if you don't know those three things. And so that's why they become really key in these building blocks, because it's like, what solution are you offering? What are you offering? And then who are you offering it to? Get really clear on that. And then how are you going to get your word out into the world? How are you sharing? Do you have a way to take their money? Because it's a business, girl. So don't talk to me about barter. Don't talk to me about like freebies, beta testing freebie. No, stop. You need to get paid. If you have a business, you need to have a way to get paid. Period. We'll do that on another episode, but seriously, you need to be able to get paid. And then lastly, how do you deliver on your offer? Because that becomes important in terms of building trust. So even if your first offer is a freebie offer, let's just say you're working on an opt-in for your email list and you're like, I want to do a freebie. Okay, fine. So what you're offering is a bite-sized solution inside of a freebie. You know who you're offering it to, you know who you help. Okay, now how are you going to share? Maybe you're going to do organic posts on social media and maybe you're going to do some paid ads. Great. Do you have a way to get paid? Well, if it's a freebie, what does that mean? Well, do you have a landing page? Do you have an email service provider where you can capture their email information and you can send them a response email with the freebie attached? Okay. But as we go into business, you need to be able to have something like Stripe or PayPal or some way of getting paid, right? And then lastly, how do you deliver on your offer? So it's like, what system do you have to deliver on what you promised? So it's just gonna keep on going around and around and around on these building blocks. So that's why it's important that you get in there and you get step 2 completed this week in your Dream to Do workbook. If we're working together, if you're actually using this podcast the way I suggested you to, you need to do the work. So I want to bring you to your micro activation step. Okay. Just like we have every single week, I have an activation step for you every single week. So, what it is for this week is, hey, go ahead. If you haven't done so already, download your Dream to Do workbook. If you haven't done step one, I encourage you to do that first. But this week is step two. And in step two, I just want you to complete it. I want you to walk through the step. I want you to say, do I have these building blocks in place? Answer the questions in your notebook. Like open up your business notebook and answer your questions and get going. And what I say down here at the bottom is, listen, this step may have opened a big can of worms or two for you, but here's the good news. I am going to help you in the next step to get it all organized. So as I always do, I am promising you, I'm not going to leave you hanging. If you'll do the work of step two, then next week, step three, we're going to put together the blueprint, the beginning blueprint. I'm going to help you to get started on what are the first like three things in each of those sections, each of those building blocks that you need to do to get on trajectory to build your business online and to launch successfully. Okay? That's what we're going to do. And I would say, like, don't miss out on the cyber deals offer, friend, because when you have this completed, you can step into the planning workshop ready to go. If you know some of these things, then you're going to get a lot out of the planning workshop, and we're going to be able to set you up in 2026 to launch and to see big things happen. Okay? It's also a great place to start if you're going to step into the business blueprint, the Jesus Girls business blueprint, because this is literally what I do with you. So if you start it and you have an idea of what you want to do in these areas, I take it from there and you step into my eight module program and we go section by section together. Okay. And if you are thinking about doing the mentorship because you're like, no, Erica, I'm just all in. Like, can we just work together? Yes, we can. And good news, everything that we're doing here in the Dream to Do workbook, it's the way that we get started together. And when we have our strategy call to onboard you, this is what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about what's your offer? Who are the people that you're called to serve? What kinds of vehicles do you want to create? How do you want to get that offer to your people? Like, are you a course creator? Are you a coach? Are you physical products? Are you services? Like, what are you? How do you get that to your person? And then we begin to strategize how you're going to build that out over the course of the year. And we just get to it. So go to jesusgirlgang.com/cyberdeals and pick a way that you're going to move forward. Let's keep moving forward because this podcast is going to be here for you. It's a great starting point. But when I open up these opportunities like I have right now, sister, do not delay. You definitely want to at least get into the workshop, okay? And that's happening December 29th. So go to jesusgirlgang.com/cyberdeals and get signed up for, I would say, the VIP for the planning workshop. Okay. Now, if you're like, no, I'm getting into the blueprint, great, because the workshop is included in the blueprint. And if you get into the mentorship, then the blueprint and the workshop are included in the mentorship. So understand, it's like little nesting dolls. So at the bare minimum, get yourself into the planning workshop so that we can work together. Okay. All right, friend. That's what I have for us this week. I hope it was helpful. I hope that you get into the workbook and you get to doing the steps here because it's gold. It's gold. All right. I want to see you launching for impact and income in this coming year. I'm so excited for you and I'm praying for you. All right, friend. Until next week, I pray you have a good week. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you back here next week. Bye for now.